Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Qiyas is analogy. Qiyas is analogy. So now, for example, say there's something new that the Sharia, the Quran and Sunnah doesn't have as a ruling that's been discussed. So say, for example, cocaine or weed or, I don't know, using mobile phones. All of these things are new things. And it wasn't available at the time of the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So what do? We need a ruling, don't we? So what we do is we look at the closest thing that we have the ruling for, and then we apply the same ruling to the new thing, and this is called analogy. We are comparing two things to give a new ruling on something new. So for example, mobile phones. What's the ruling on that? Okay, at the time of the Messenger of Allah, they used to have letters. Sending letters is permissible as long as you're doing it for a good reason. Therefore, having a mobile phone to communicate is fine. But also at the time of the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they had people listening to music, they had people wasting time, etc. So now the scholar, when he's doing his analogy, will say, okay, well, if you're using your mobile phone for haram purposes, then it is haram because of, not only because of other rulings and other sources of legislation, but also you can use the comparisons that we already have. So sorry, you can use the things which are already established to make a comparison. Yeah. So at the time of the Messenger of Allah, people used to waste time doing poetry. So the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Hasanuhu hasan wa qabihu qabih." The good of it is good, and the bad of it is bad. So what the scholars have said in this hadith, the bad of it is bad, meaning people are wasting their time with poetry and trying to be eloquent and trying to entertain and things like that with no real purpose. Therefore, it then becomes makruh, to say the least, and it could even be haram. So now a scholar will look at that and say, look, if a person's using his mobile phone in that manner, if entertainment at that time was in that manner, then there's an analogy, then we can apply the same ruling as the Messenger of Allah did when it comes to things like poetry and things like that. That is what is qiyas. The second thing that you're asking about here is Qawl as-Shahaabi. Qawl as-Shahaabi is the action, the statement, or the view of a companion. So if a companion tells you something about the unseen, about Allah, or if a companion tells you the ruling of something, or if the companion does something to explain that this is part of the religion, this then becomes legislation for us, as long as it doesn't contradict another companion and it doesn't contradict the Quran and the Sunnah. Because you have to remember, companions, they can differ with one another when it comes to their view. And it can also be that a companion, they don't know it all. We love them, we respect them, but we also believe that they don't know it all. It is possible that they can make mistakes, but we don't say that about them. We have a level of respect, but the reality of the situation is that every single one of us can make mistakes. So it could be that a companion says something which is wrong, and then he is corrected by another companion. And in that regard, if he has said something which contradicts another companion or contradicts something from the Quran and Sunnah, then it doesn't become legislative. However, if he has said something and is in conformance with the Quran and Sunnah, is an explanation of the Quran and Sunnah, and the other companions have agreed with what he has said, then this becomes legislation. To give you an example, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, he said that riba, interest, is only when you delay an exchange of something. He said that initially. He changed his opinion after the other companions explained to him, no, riba can also be money for money. Because the Messenger of Allah said, "Innama riba nasiya." Riba nasiya, we'll study this inshallah in the second year. But if I give you gold and I'm trading gold with you, I can't delay. It has to be done in the same sitting, and it has to be done hand to hand. Ibn Abbas said, if you don't do it in the same sitting and hand to hand, that is the only riba which is haram. But we now know from other texts and other companions and hadith, etc., that if I give you some money, I loan you some money and I want some more in return, that's riba. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "La ta'kul riba ad'afun mudafa." Don't take riba upon riba. Ad'afun muda'afa. That is not allowed. So if I give you 10 and I say, okay, I'm going to lend you £10, but you have to give me £15 in return, that's riba, that's not allowed. So now here, when Ibn Abbas used to have the view that there's only one type of riba, which is a delay in exchange, we will say that Qawl as-Shahaabi, that statement of a companion, is not legislative, because it is not in conformance with the Quran and Sunnah, and is not conformant with what the other companions have said. But when it comes to something like, music, some of the companions that used to put their fingers in their ears when they were passing by people listening to music. So now when you hear people listening to music, this is what they used to do. This now becomes proof for us to say, number one, music is haram, and number two, you should pass by music very quickly. You shouldn't let it settle. You should change your setting, and if it's affecting you, even cover your ears. this becomes now legislative because a companion has done it and other companions have agreed, and it's in conformance with Quran and Sunnah. So hopefully this explains now what al-Qiyaas is and what Qawl as-Shahaabi is. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us the best understanding of His religion. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.